Whoa. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to Ass Hat Podcast on YouTube. No secret, I mean, you watch this channel enough, you can kind of figure out what comic artists, writers I'm really fans of. You know, it's kind of, I'm a huge fan of Rick Veitch. I love Steve Ditko's art. His writing, not as much, but his art's really good. Another one I'm a huge fan of, and I discovered him probably late 80s. It was before the series that's collected here started, because I had issues of neat stuff. So I'm guessing probably 87, 88. Be Peter Bag. This is Buddy Does Seattle. Complete Buddy Bradley stories from Hate Comics, Volume 1, 1990 through 1994. And that would be the first 15 issues of Hate. We got the Space Needle, we got Lisa, we got My Dumb Zine, we got a King Griffey Jr. thing, Rain, of course, Stinky, a Tree. What band was that? Dwarves? Lisa, maybe? Not Lisa, Valerie. Oh God, what was his room? George! And Liquor! And Starbucks and Records. And it says Tad and Jack Pepsi. It's on the back here. 20 years from now, when people wonder what it was like to be young in the 1990s Seattle, the record we'll have is Peter Bag's Hate. Mixes Ramon, Stranger Than Paradise, and Three Stooges. Rooms ever shared a basement apartment with roommates from hell. It's fucking amazing. I'm gonna put that to the side. This was not even monthly, probably about 4 to 5 times a year comic, black and white, bigger than this, average comic size. Buddy was a teenager, he was probably about 19, 20, didn't know what the fuck he wanted to do, and on just a loop, moved from New Jersey, like, not big city New Jersey, like suburban New Jersey, to downtown Seattle. Shared an apartment with Stinky, that guy right there, and George. George was this little nerdy dude, just stayed in his room writing and shit, and they loved him because he always had his rent money. So Buddy, did all the shit in early Seattle. He, tried to run a band. He started a zine. He met Lisa, who's crazy, and Valerie, and just fucking amazing little slice of life. And supposedly halfway based on real shit that happened to Peter Bag, probably about 5 years before this shit was set. Now, this is a library-bound edition. That's when he starts running a booth at a fucking convention. This is so great. Oh, God. He starts running a booth, and this is back in the day, Yahtzee. This guy, nobody could pronounce his name, they called him Yahtzee. He had a booth where he sold bootleg VHS. If you ever went to a convention in the 80s or 90s, especially about 85 to about 90, early 2000, you saw the guy sold bootleg VHS, shit that was not out on VHS or hard to find, bootleg copies, and these fuckers would get, the good ones were like, oh man, $10 a tape, or if you buy four, I'll give you one for free. Yeah. The other ones were like 20 to 25 to 30 a tape, and if it's something really old, man, it's $50. Yeah. Well, Buddy's gonna get a tape, what was it? Bop Go Goes Calypso. I always wanted to see it. When I heard the Gophers do a couple numbers in, so he tries to steal it, Yahtzee comes after him. And then they go home, him and Lisa didn't really sell shit. She stole a bag of tapes, and Yahtzee ends up showing up, and wants his money back, and Buddy just goes nuts with a bat and starts destroying the tapes in front of him. Freaks him out, he leaves, and then they find, what is it? One movie left, The Tingler with Vincent Price. Just such great stuff. I loved Hate, and this was the era, I started Hate probably around issue 2. I don't think I got 1 when it first came out. Well, let's say library now. Well then, after issue 16 through 30, which would be 94 through 98, it's the second half. Hate was doing great, so Peter Bag made it color. And it started including all kinds of backup stuff. You got about 15 to 25 pages of Hate every issue. All kinds of columns and backup comics, and just great shit. Mike McFadden, writing as Selwyn Harris, had a column about just sleazy stuff. Who else was in there? Jim Blanchard. Oh God, there's so many people, and that's the only name just got Selwyn Harris. I'm friends with Mike McFadden now. It's just like, dude, you're fucking Selwyn Harris. I loved your shit. But this is Buddy Does Jersey. This is the second half. Okay, so we got his mom, White Castle Pizza, Buddy's dad, I don't know what the fuck that is, BJ's, Bergen Mall, his brother, Butch, his sister, cannot remember her name anymore, don't know, his monster truck, his old friend from school, Bugles, another car, God, what was his name? He's the one towards the end Buddy went into business with, I can't think of his name, and Pollution. And this is the second half of Hate. Now this is in black and white, that's how you get it so cheap. I wish it was in color. And it's just, he moves back, he ends up living with his mom, him and Lisa for a while. trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life, trying to help his family. His parents are divorced, his sister's a nut. Butch doesn't do anything. And Buddy ends up teaming up with that guy I showed you on the cover. And he's running like a junk store. And Buddy ends up turning into a collectible store and ends up making a lot of money off this shit. Because this would be like 90. That's when the old toy market was starting to explode. All them 80s toys. Woo, shit. I can remember when comic shop I used to remember comic shop I bought Hey-Dat for from last 2 years. It was like 97 through 98. He had a bunch of old Star Wars figures he picked up here and there off people, and they weren't cheap, but they weren't overpriced. Like a decent looking Boba Fett, no accessories, loose. I think he won like $6. Yeah, they weren't horrible. Nobody's buying them. Then all of a sudden, like over the course of 2 months, because he had them in the counter, coming in, and they're like less and less, and people were just buying them up. And he started pulling shit out of the back he forgot he had, and he was selling all these old toys. But he does that, and ends up, Lisa gets pregnant, and he proposes to her. In the final panel, he rolls over and something's in bed with him. It's a magic whistle. The only reason that makes sense to anybody is if you read Hate back, and that's what sucks. They don't have the letter pages. The letter page of this book, right? Somebody early on in one of the issues wrote in and asked for a story where Buddy and Lisa found a magic whistle. And it was like way before this. Like issues before this. So a couple of years at least. And that's how Peter Bag ended it. And here's the Hate Annuals, which were little short stories. He put out like one a year. Yeah, 1 or 2 little stories about Buddy and Lisa and what's going on with their kid and shit. And the rest of it was just, Peter Bag stuff. These are not in there. I don't have a lot of those. I have the first 2, then I'm missing the rest. But yeah, Peter Bag, one of my favorite comic artists and writers, just amazing shit. And really, he's known, but I bet you I could go into any comic shop and ask the next 10 people to walk through the door that are buying comics who Peter Bag is, and out of the 10, 4 will know who he is. It just don't seem like he get much talk. That's why I try to spotlight him, Rick Veitch. I don't hear people talking about Veitch. Veitch is amazing. Bag is amazing. Now, word of warning with Peter Bag, he's very in your face with his politics. He's a very hardcore libertarian, so that kind of shit gets to you. It ain't that bad in these series. Some of his newer stuff, it shows up a little bit more, so just word of warning there. But hope you enjoyed that, man. If you did, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, all the other bullshit. Talk to everybody later. Bye-bye.